airport will only be open to pure blood.
Wow, this man has been existing for years, and all of a sudden there's so much information, so much testimonies. Where were these testimonies a couple years ago? Didn't have to go through it right now if people had spoken up, right? So we waited until almost 144 people were almost sacrificed, told that they were going on this ark. The world is coming to an end. All those people didn't have to suffer all this brainwashing if we had sent this man to some kind of psycho place or something, because he's obviously crazy. This guy is batshit crazy. Have to be batshit crazy. And the people who followed him are batshit crazy as well. They have to be. You would have to be batshit crazy if you hear this man talking about skin up your face like pum pum when it not no use. You would have to be batshit crazy to sit there. You would have to be batshit crazy to hear. Everybody wanna touch off for me. Everybody wanna touch off. I will get the butter on at the end. You would have to be batshit crazy. So listen. Hey everyone, I hope you all are doing well, and as usual, I thank you for joining me here. So guys, there's just pure madness that's been going on social media lately, especially when it comes to what's happening in Jamaica. I'm telling you, we're talking about a cult, a man who thinks he's Jesus, members of a congregation that was brainwashed into believing that they were going on this ark. We have people who were sacrificed inside the church. We have people who ran for their lives. And in the end, the leader of the cult, died. So I'm going to start by reading an article from Urban Islands about his passing, and then we're going to go back to about 2017 up until recently, and you'll see what type of person this so-called pastor was. Grab your popcorns, it's going to be a show. Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries leader Kevin O. Smith died in a motor vehicle accident along the Bogwalk bypass on Monday morning. It is understood that Smith died alongside a policeman in the accident. 3 other cops were injured in the incident. Police sources confirmed that Smith was being transported from Montego Bay, where he was being held, to CIB headquarters in downtown Kingston in an unmarked police vehicle when the incident occurred. Smith was being taken to Kingston reportedly because of the behavior of police personnel at the location where he was being held in Montego Bay. The rank and name of the deceased policeman has not been released as yet. Residents of Linstead who visited the crash scene told Observer that the now deceased pastor was seen wearing a blue mask, lying beside the dead policeman. They said the car transporting Smith collided with another vehicle. Smith was detained 2 Sundays ago after police went to his church, where human sacrifices were reportedly being held. A shootout reportedly occurred between police and some churchgoers. It is reported that at least one person's throat was slashed with a knife at the church. Kevin O. Smith has been a trending topic in Jamaica and the diaspora for the past week after he allegedly masterminded the killing of members of his congregation in what appeared to be a case of human sacrifice. Past members of his congregation and Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries in Montego Bay have been speaking out about the horrors that went down on the night of October 17th. Some members say he ran his church using fear and bullying tactics to keep his followers in check. Since news of his deadlings emerged, several well-known Jamaican public figures, including some dancehall artists and athletes, have distanced themselves from him after photos surfaced online with him and them.
God, I will make a way. Will you remember my word? Will you remember? Identity in order. You cannot be of impure blood. You cannot come if you have taken the mark. From the north, come from the south, come from the east, come from the west. The airport shall be open for pure blood. I have every bird, the parrots, the doves, the pigeons. I have the bees. Everybody wants to touch us from me. Everybody wants to touch us from me. Everybody wants to see us. They want to touch us from me. They want to touch us. Everybody wants to touch us from me. Everybody wants to touch us from me. Everybody wants to see us. They want to touch us from me. They want to touch us.
Situation where a religious group, or what we describe as a cult, calling members from all over the island to gather at this location. During the whole process, some persons were stabbed by other members of the group. Persons went to hospital. Police was called in. When the police came, the police was greeted with gunfire from the leader of the congregation.
Behind us is the scene of it's Pathways International Church, where we had an incident last night. A congregant here, a member of this church, who had been injured, apparently when she chose to disobey some instructions given to her by the leaders of this organization.
Andre Ruddock, a member of the Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries in Montego Bay, has been charged with 1 count of murder and 1 count of wounding with intent. Head of Corporate Communications at the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay, says Ruddock is to appear in court this week. Ruddock is alleged to have slashed the throat of another congregant, Tanecka Gardner, on October 17 and wounded another person.
This is the moment a small team of police personnel arrived at Dr. Kevin Smith's house in Coral Gardens in St. James. It was just after midday, and unlike yesterday when they came and could not access the property, firefighters came along. The firefighters cut the padlock to the main gate, paving the way for the lawmen to carry out their search. So immediately after the search team arrived here at the pastor's house, the road that the house is located on was cordoned off. So then we had no choice but to take our eyes to the skies. We understand that the bishop was present during the search of his house, but carefully hidden from our cameras. We did manage to get a glimpse of the pastor after he was taken to his house in Ironshore. From above, we observed not much movement on the premises at Coral Gardens, but we were reliably informed that the police conducted a detailed search of the house, looking for anything electronic, including clues that would help them determine how the pastor acquired his wealth.
There was a fee of $100,000 to board Smith's Ark for the first journey in 2020.
Chineke, I didn't say that you were showing him. So not to make up your face and make your face look like when boom boom down the use. You know.
Good morning, me alright. Me nothing wrong with me alright. But now listen to everything you hear and believe, because sometimes people run with the wrong story and people say the wrong things and people accuse people wrongfully. But what I'm saying is that we have no answer for what take place. I was there part of what, in the last part in the evening what happened. But all I know is I see mystery and I see God in action what eyewitness? How can you sit down one place and one soldier and police, military, 100 gunshot go at you one time and not one shot touch the man of God? That is mystery. That's all me have to say. What happened? It is not spiritual. It is a demonic attack from some maroon people when car come the Saturday night. We can't explain to you, but me talk to you. Listen to what you hear, but and everything you have to swallow and accept. But me alright still, me good. We get paper for go a court for breach a curfew act. We were taken to jail. We treated like a king and queen down there. Some of the guys them that was inside, and so His Excellency is still there. But just pray for him so they may do Jesus and he may come out victorious.
I'm going to interject right here. So I really don't know who this lady is, but what I will not allow on my platform is for any form of brainwashing. So I'm going to be detailing some of what exactly happened inside the church. So I'm going to be reading an article from faithfultimes.com. Pastor Kevin O. Smith killed 2 of his members in an alleged human sacrifice ritual. He called the service a Roman Catholic sacrifice. Smith, the pastor of St. James Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries, has been arrested. However, within 2 hours of his arrest, believers had raised over $30,000 to cover his legal fees. Upon entering the building, authorities found several animals and naked men who were also being prepared for sacrifice.
He start a couple things, mash them up, mash up, wind them round pan it, mash up cheer, mash up everything. Mash up glass and all, cut up himself and a ball out in the church. I mean, I say, oh, what is this, man? I wonder if a chance saw me around there, chance saw me in a God now. I do things around your mind now, you see me? Then he walk and a cuss and a walk and I say people turn them back on him and he come in the flesh and we don't realize him and all type of something. That's God. We don't realize him. So we did up on the gun and him a walk and you see me? Come out something he all walk for me. He walk for him, up on the gun and he walk for him.
The young man says in spite of all that, he still saw Smith as a god and never lost respect for him. He says at this time, about 9 members were inside while others were outside clamoring to get inside the church.
Because some people could come on the property. Because people want to come in now, you know. So they out there ball out, say, Your Majesty, let us in, we're going to die.
At one point inside the church, the young man recalled that the pastor gave instructions to a church member to kill another, saying he would bring him back to life. The member was stabbed in the back, and immediately after, the young man says Smith followed up by shooting him. The young man says a few minutes later, he saw the member that Smith had just shot back inside the church, begging him for help.
So, Mr. Corey, I walk and I say, Your Majesty, I got shot. Can you heal the pain?
He recalled another bizarre act by Pastor Smith, which led to the death of a man who had come to the church for healing. He says the man was sick and had some tubes in his chest.
So the pastor looked upon him and say, Yo, do you believe that I am God? And the man said, Yes, I believe. Do you believe that I can resurrect you when you die? And the man said, Yes, so the pastor I say, Alright. Pull out the chest over time on him. The man start bleed out and him. While the man start bleed out, the man take off his shirt, take off his pants. And Andre and our next man, we don't know his name. Like enough people there, see me, put him on the ground and make him man bleed out. That man you see on the ground, he black. Black man, him black, slim and black. He bleed out on the ground, man. And the pastor say he must die. And I call it resurrect. Resurrect him again, you understand?
Following that, the young man says Smith gave him and another member knives, saying he was going to begin allowing the other members inside and that they should be killed. It was then, he says, Smith called Tanecka, the late employee of appliance traders inside the church, and started questioning her.
And the pastor said, Do you believe that I am God in the flesh? And she said, Yes. And then the pastor said, Do you believe that I can resurrect you again when you die? And the girl said, Yes, you see me? And then the pastor said to Andre, saying, Go and kill her. But this girl is no mad small, you know, they are dead. Run for your life. In my mind, no. Because if me did say it out loud, maybe that said sense man if you can kill me instead. I tell her say some type of foolish, brother.
What did she do after the pastor said that? Did she put up any resistance or she stood there waiting to be killed?
She hold up her hand. She hold up her hand and start bawling and say, God, you are God. That man tell the man, say, my God, you know. You are God, you are God. You say, I kneel down on her knee and the man just go, and brother just go and cut it. I see a man cut the woman short. I say, John, really this a go on here? Is a woman, the man just kill in front of me. I look at me and say, yo, no, man.
Now, this lady that is here talking about there was absolutely nothing going on in the church is totally brainwashed and blind. All right, continuing.
Your freedom. What was there anything else? How were people in the church treated?
I've seen where people, right, their own birth parents, basically they turn their mind against their own birth parent. You can imagine that. So seeing things like those and as well being told not to visit my family because, you know, I'm going to die or this or that, you know. Those are some of the things that would basically you would have heard on a regular basis where that is concerned, and that of itself basically would have put you into fear.
You said people could be turned against their birth parents. How would that happen?
All right, so one, primarily you would call you a witch, right? So no, mind you see the teachings that are given at the church, right? Once you're deemed as a witch to him, the entire church is against you, basically, right? It's like there's no redemption, right? So no, you as a person probably have no idea what is happening, but you know you are told you're a witch. And that of itself just, you know, automatically just turn the people in mind against you.
God is able to carry you, but you don't tell me, or you can't answer for me, or you cannot stand before God for me. So allow me to make my decision. Me thank you for concern, but maybe the concern you have is not a good concern and is not a good advice. So therefore, me no want you sorry for me, and me no want you tell me what you believe in or who you believe in or who you trust, because every man have to stand before God and give account for their own sin.
Now there is mud, I suppose, from the heavy traffic before and after the alleged shooting and the incident that happened here. There are pieces of clothing on the floor, blood stains on some parts of the floor.
Now, we were told by many that the bishop would often tell people to refer to him as His Excellency. Now, this chair is one that would be befitting of an excellent person. On the arms, carvings of lions. Now, on his table, clearly his name tag written here, His Excellency Dr. Kevin O. Smith. And from where he sat, this is what the church looks like. The church is often referred to as the ark. When we came, we saw no animals inside. All the animals were outside. But this is what we saw. Food items, counterflour, sugar. We saw chicken all over. More rice, peas in this refrigerator. Chickens. And the scent is emanating from it because the refrigerators are clearly plugged out.
That I am. All you people of the world, I came to you in this form. I am Subasur, born in Glengoff, Victoria, the year of jubilee and victory. What happened? Oh, hospital, mat. They made my life a mat. I suffered, I bled. Look at this night when I came to call all of my sheep. The stray sheep from the 12 tribes and nation. The thunder comes, the cloud comes, and the rain comes. But you did not believe my report. I am the fountain of life. I am the Catherine Peak. I come from St. Catherine. That's why you gave me water from where I come from.
Came and taken to Canada with his mother and his other brother and sister. We know the whole family.
Send him back.
And he is from a deep mental health issue, and they always get sick when they get older. So like after they reach like 20, 25, 30 thereabout, they start getting sick.
Syphilis.
So everything in here surround the mental health issue, all this craziness.
In a bizarre turn of events, a police constable and the controversial leader of the Pathways International Ministries, Kevin Smith, are dead. The two died in a car crash in Linstead, St. Catherine about 9:30 today. Two other police officers who were in the vehicle transporting Smith were injured and are in critical condition. Now, we'll get to that story with Kirk in just a moment, but as a matter of fact, we'll do that story right now.
Chaos in the immediate aftermath of the crash.
Somebody gone.
The officers were taking Kevin Smith, leader of the Pathways International Ministries, in an unmarked service vehicle to Kingston for him to be formally charged. Our information is that Smith and another suspect were to be charged with the death of two congregants at Smith's church 2 Sundays ago. The second suspect, who was being transported to face similar charges, was in another marked service vehicle that was piloting the vehicle carrying Smith and the policeman who died. This is dash cam video just before the accident. Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay, head of the Police Communications Unit, CCU, says a detailed investigation is trying to find out how the accident happened.
We're not sure exactly what transpired, apart from the fact that we know that the pilot vehicle indicated that they heard crashing sounds as they were traveling a convoy, and when they looked behind them, they saw the vehicle overturned, and they went to the assistance of the officers, where they realized the nature of the injuries, and the ambulance came and took them to a hospital where they were pronounced dead.
The police constable, who has been identified as Orlando Irons, was stationed in St. James. A motorist on the Linstead bypass where the accident happened says the service vehicles were heading in the direction of Spanish Town when the accident happened.
There was a police car, marked and an unmarked one, escorting, I think it was Kevin Smith. The marked vehicle went through just fine, but the unmarked vehicle happened to hit a private vehicle going in the opposite direction and then spun in the middle of the road, hitting another vehicle coming from the opposite direction and went over into bushes.
The eyewitness described what she said happened after the crash.
There was 4 occupants in the vehicle. 2 police officers were at the front. They were both bleeding from the mouth and the nose. The two persons at the back, one was a police officer and one was, I think, Kevin Smith. They were unconscious. It took about an hour before they were taking out the vehicle because they had to be cut out by the fire truck. To me, they looked dead.
Double 26-year-old Orlando Irons also died. Smith was to be charged with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of wounding with intent, and 1 count of illegal possession of a
The information received on this accident this morning that the service vehicle in Montego Bay heading to Kingston along with Mr. Smith, the famous pastor. On their way, the service vehicle overtake, and the vehicle that the 3 police and Mr. Smith was traveling in collided into a white pickup truck. And seeing it, the pickup driver stopped, and the vehicle could not make overtake because of the service vehicle go through, go so narrow. So the vehicle that was transporting the Smith collided into pickup and get over control and slam into the embankment.
I was passing, I said, a lot of crowd. I was taking picture. So no man. When when I stopped my bike, police was in pain. And I seen for a crowbar and start brace off the door. Brace off the door. And then that door couldn't brace off. I'm going on the other side, but then the driver side. Pull it. And two other way. But me and another hombre come up, but we just fought in there. And assist the police to him out. But the reporting gun and to the police.
What was the condition of the pastor at the time? At the time, did you realize that it was Pastor Smith?
Him can't hide. But when I touch him, I feel like one heavy burden. One heavy, like
The police communications arm responded to why the officers transporting Smith to Kingston from Montego Bay did not use the Edward Seaga Highway.
So it happened on Church Street in the vicinity of the Linstead bypass. I'm not able to say which route they took, but we know that there are several routes to Kingston, and I'm sure they would have made the assessment and would have taken the route that they believe would be the safest route to get them there. Unfortunately, there was an accident that would have changed the whole dynamics of them getting from Montego Bay to Kingston safely.
This little young man is so brilliant. I mean, I remember when he was in the police force and he said, Auntie, I'm not staying in the police force, the security force. And him saying, I'm going into the police force because the security force now have nothing for offering. And I live in Kingston, they live in St. Anne, and every day as the process continues, he would call me, Auntie, I need to do my medical. I take him to Snipe Road. He would stay over at my house, we would pick him up, we would drop him off. When he's going to the embassy, he call me, Auntie, I'm coming up, and I'd pick him up because I'm the Kingston auntie and they live in the country. Orlando is a great guy, a great father.
The entire rank and file cohort, we are mourning, and by extension the JCF. It's never an easy task, Kirk, to lose one of our members in such an unfortunate and tragic accident.
News team has been speaking with current and former members of the church, as well as residents of Albion St. James, where the church is located. Anthony Lugg has that report.
Disbelief and confusion among members of the Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries on Monday when news broke that Dr. Kevin Smith was dead. One member fought the tears as she spoke with our news team.
I don't really know what to say, but it is shocking to know that he died just now in a manner like that.
Shocking for her, but for residents in Albion where the church is located.
To be honest, I don't feel anyway that he died.
Dr. Smith was questioned on the weekend by detectives attached to the Major Investigation Division in relation to the alleged ritual killings of 2 congregants inside his church. We visited the church on Monday afternoon, and this is what it looked like. The series of events which unfolded on the property over a week ago sparked outrage across the country, and like many Jamaicans, some church members were seeking answers.
A crime is committed on the property.
Right.
And everybody have to give an account for something. And if he was held reliable for what done, well, he do his time and service time, but we just did want some answers.
Former church members like this woman, whom we'll call Sandra to conceal her identity, was hoping Dr. Smith would be charged and brought before the courts.
A lot of his members now are still under this belief that he is in fact a spiritual leader and somebody working for God. So I was just looking forward to that, so there wouldn't be any discrepancies in who he was as a person. Everybody would know that, okay, this man is really a fraud.
Amidst all the confusion surrounding Dr. Smith's death are questions about the mode of transportation for inmates in high-profile cases.
They should have probably, airlift him to Kingston, do something, instead of taking him in this way.
Maybe they could bring him up in the army truck. Even if they is trying something, nothing could not happen, because if he was in the army truck, even if something leaked, we still could run an investigation on what's going on.
However, there are many questions that remain unanswered.
How can you carry a man
cross over flat bridge. You think you're gonna go over there alive? A man in a lodge. Well, let me talk. Mute to the mic, let me talk. A man with deep in a lodge, where wanted 100 and had soul, the blood sacrifice. You think say you were going to cross that bridge with him? You think say the dopey them would have make you cross that bridge with him?
All the names that on him list. Why you think him call out the names? Him telling you in code who is who. If you listen to the man preaching, the man literally giving you the hint, but you wasn't picking up. So that is why I know the people them who in him congregation are dry bone. No discernment spirit whatsoever. Nobody no pick up the code. I watch the man preach and say, and when God let down Lucifer, and him pine pan himself in the video, me say, yes, man, then I hold them not see them a code here.
Sacrifice in a Jamaica, thief in church, liar pastor, mama wamba collection. Yeah, yo.
Watch out the outcome, because the end of the day is, you know what happened? Into your eye, the man dead. The man not dead, the man gone home. What I want you to understand is, if you watch the video when them circulate around the internet, oh, the man just quiet. The man gone home, people. The spirit in the body, the assignment is compromised. So therefore, the man take himself home. So the man go home with the police and carry people with him. When you come talk about court, you ever hear no history like that in a Jamaica, where you hear them blessing thing, them blessing thing they dig up on the ground. You maybe wonder why you are here this now and what. So where you did expect, where did hear judge attack, where you need to do a, you know, say an accident, you know, no spiritual number, the man send himself home. So even though not that spirit still on the roam, remember now, you know, it's a body versus soul. No, whatever soul is in that body, using that body in that form of capacity to all of you guys know it. Know that soul exit that body because the body compromised. So therefore, him left the body, but the spirit and that order and that soul still there. It will go in as somebody else.
But when we touch him, you know, I feel like one heavy burden, one heavy, like
Wow, this man has been existing for years, and all of a sudden there's so much information, so much testimonies. Where were these testimonies a couple years ago? Didn't have to go through it right now if people had spoken up. Right? So we waited until almost 144 people were almost sacrificed, told that they were going on this ark. The world is coming to an end. All those people didn't have to suffer all this brainwashing if we had sent this man to some kind of psycho place or something, because he's obviously crazy. This guy is batshit crazy. Have to be batshit crazy. And the people who followed him are batshit crazy as well. They have to be. You would have to be batshit crazy if you hear this man talking about skin up your face like pum pum when it not no use. You would have to be batshit crazy to sit there. You would have to be batshit crazy to hear. Everybody wanna touch off for me. Everybody wanna touch off for me. I will get the butter on at the end. You would have to be batshit crazy. So listen. Everybody knew what this was, and they decided that they were gonna stick with it. All right? So all the people of that church who are denying what the church was actually like and what took place, they need to be admitted into some psychiatric ward. They're batshit crazy. You cannot have people like that roaming among civilized Jamaicans with a brain. Right? You get sent down to prison and then you come back, we get treated like king and queen. You're absolutely brainwashed at this point. There's no king and queen There's no king and queen service at the jail right there, down there, okay? No. Everybody was sorry for you guys at some point.
How many of you were late?
Oh God, poor thing. Them really make
$200 can pay for the whole of your Jingman family.
God, poor soul. Alright, me give them some water for drink because I understand said me that them that forget all of their money to this pastor they not for drink. But I could treat them like somebody for the first time. So when they start to get good treatment for the first time, then it feel like king and queen. Alright? Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care of yourselves. One love.
So long I've been thirsty for a word from you, and I've shown myself